Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian owned, not to control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening to replay. This is the vault, episode 490. Social Security Trust and Trustee. Definitely want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Definitely hit the like and subscribe. Always appreciate everybody that hits the like and subscribe button. We've definitely been growing our subscribers every single day for years now, and we just definitely want to continue to push the actual podcast up in the algorithm. So definitely always appreciate you when you hit the like, and definitely hit the like, and we always appreciate that. So this is episode 490, Social Security Trust and Trustee. This is one of those episodes we do everything by demand. We're not over here just pumping out content to pump out content. We've gotten up to 490 and do our best to not do the same episode more than once. So this is one of those episodes where Social Security Trust and Trustee, we can talk about it from various different perspectives. We have many different trustees that come through the Trustee Training Program with various perspectives on uh, Social Security Trust, and we're going to talk about that today because this is a big deal in the community at large, whether people have entitlement mentality or they feel the government owes them something or they feel the government is putting a debt on their back, so they feel like they need to get paid back against the government. The government says they're in bankruptcy, so the people feel like they're in bankruptcy and they feel like they should be able to discharge debt. Things like that. And so we're going to talk about those things on this particular episode because when it comes down to it, the Social Security Administration Trust is a welfare trust, and the trustees that are administrating are public officers. So you get these trustees sometimes they come through the trustee training program and they'll ask, well, can I capture the birth certificate? Can I put this in a trust? Can I put, the social security number in a trust? It's already a trust. It's a part of it. It's a beneficiary of the General Welfare Fund that's been created. It comes from the Social Security Administration Act. It's important to go look up these documents so when you're saying, oh, I want to create a security instrument, you know where you're creating a security instrument. You know where you derive the security instrument's powers. Oh, I'm trying to create a security on my birth certificate because this is security and I want to be able to issue securities. These are the things people say to us. Well, people are going to say that they want to issue securities. Did you read the governing instrument that allows you to issue a security? The governing instrument. Oh man, I didn't really read the Social Security Administration Act. I don't know that I'm a trustee, but I want to be a trustee. I want to be in the private, so then I could be a trustee, and then I can discharge the public debt because the public's debt and the private's not. Okay, so how are you wanting to be private and administer and be private of your life and still looking to do things for what used to be called the government name, as some people may call it? It's really the Social Security Administration Trust name that is a part of a quote unquote debt system, quote unquote. It's fine to say that. It's a part of a debt system that clearly some people don't like. Some people don't appreciate being put into debt without their permission. Some people think that there's debts being put out on them or their signatures that they've utilized in the past. And that's fine. These are things that are warranted for discovery and moving forward on it if you choose to move forward on it. Back to the point of the Social Security Administration Trust and Trustee, so many come through and say, oh, well, I want to be a trustee. Which one, a private trustee? Or you still trying to administer or be a public trustee? So we might as well just not call it private trustee training over here. We gonna keep it as trustee training. That's what it's been the whole time. We've never said at the vault that we wouldn't be able to work with trustees and work with public trustees. This is a continuing education program. We work with very different levels of managers. More so than anything, it's the managers that we're dealing with. It's the asset managers that we're dealing with because trustees are asset managers. So we deal with the asset managers. We work with the asset managers. We go over process systems and procedures with these managers. So when we talk about Social Security Administration Trust, there is a system. It's the Social Security Administration system. It's the Social Security Trust system. That's what public school system is. If your parents didn't pay for it, if you got free lunch, if you got reduced lunch, if you got pretty much education that was paid for through various means outside of your parents, Social Security Administration, trust and trustee. Now we got trustees that say, "Oh well, the government owes them something." How the government owe you something? They gave you a free education at that. And then we're moving into where now post-secondary education is halfway free because they're doing debt forgiveness programs and all these other things. So where's the value in it? We talk to trustees about this type of stuff all the time. Where's the value in it? Trustee, there are people that will come on a consultation and they will literally get deflated. They get on the line. They say, "Oh, trust Christian involved. I was googling it all. I was looking for the information on capturing the social, capturing the birth certificate. I'm looking to capture these things. I want to capture and be in control of the contracts, whether it's signatures or not. Be in control of the contracts out here." Really, that's what they're saying. Trusteeship for sure. I want to be in control of these things, these assets. I don't want people to create assets without my permission. That's fair. Those are not quality contracts. You know, so we understand those type of thought processes. Okay, that's the public trying to control the public and operating the public, which makes an individual at that point a trustee. They're obligated to report. Oh man, I'm gonna just go out and start discharging stuff, but I'm still not going. I don't know how to do the. I don't know how to do the taxes with that. Well, what would be the benefit of you doing any of those processes of getting the debt or otherwise? And once again, this is the issue. We're aware that how what is the liability of it? That's where we are with it at the vault. So people come on the line, they hear it, they get deflated. Oh man, well, so what happened was, this is what they say. Well, what happened was I Googled, just trying to get the last little bit because I was, dropping 300, 500, $5,000 on this process. And what happened? Well, I Googled you and I found out that it might be a waste of time. It might not be as valuable. And then after hearing you speak about it and hearing you go over it with us about the securities, because we've never had anyone really to talk to about specifically securities, which they're coming on asking about securities. And we say, yeah, we got securities lawyers around us. We have securities agents around us. Literally, we know them. We can call them. We can contact them. We can, ask them questions that refer to securities. They're dealing with securities at very high levels, especially financial securities, because they're securities agents. So they're very knowledgeable about, whether you want to talk about whether it's lines of credit contracts, when you talk about security contracts, clearly they're a securities lawyer, agent, or securities lawyer. So these people are very familiar with securities. Maybe not all of them, that's fair. Social Security Trust and trustee, not to say they're a trustee, but they're clearly aware of how trustees are going to stay compliant. So these are people that you want to have by you, by your side. But guess what? We'll put them on. We'll tell a trustee by you. You would think a trustee would be chomping at the bit to talk to these people, but we also give these people the heads up. When you want to go talk to trustees, quote unquote, that are seniors, that are in the security space, they don't have time for riffraff. They don't have time for BS. They don't have time for questions that are related to you trying to get something for nothing. And they've literally busted their butt and worked their whole life to get in a position where they've taken a test to actually be a securities agent. Why wouldn't somebody that wants to deal in securities go take the securities test? But oh no, no, they don't do it sometimes. There are people that reach out through the internet, and once again, we're saying it from the perspective that they want to capture the birth certificate, capture the social security number, whatever it is. Just go look into the test and take the test. Take the test. Learn about the securities that you're looking to engage in. But oh no, no, people don't want to know. This is a daggone gorilla in the room. I promise you that. This isn't oh, I'm gonna just go start issuing securities. What are you talking about? They got the SEC created for this whole operation. That's a security agent company. They are making sure that people don't write bad securities. So when we talk to trustees about, oh well, I'm going to use the birth certificate. I know it's worth some money. Well, They have a Securities Exchange Commission. You're gonna have to go through them to even get to prepare a security. We could sit here and talk about this all day because we've had it for years. The conversation about securities and oh, on the birth certificate. This it's like a few things, but don't worry. It doesn't leave a person's mind right away. They're either disappointed and they're like, man, these guys over the internet told me that I was going to make some money off my social security number. I was going to make some money off of the social, my birth certificate, whatever it is. Something for nothing. Oh man, since I was born in America and the country's in debt, I'm supposed to have abilities to get rid of debt. How? Are you a trustee? Are you administering assets? Or are you the beneficiary? Well, I'm kind of both, right? It doesn't work that way. When you have companies, not everybody's a shareholder that sits on the board, and not all shareholders sit on the board. The people that are issuing the security are on the board. Those are the trustees, the board of trustees. They're issuing shares or issuing beneficiary certificates to who? The beneficiaries, not to themselves. Sure, we could sit here and say we can talk about it with lawyers. We could talk about it with senior trustees or whoever. If you're a trustee, they're a trustee. So many people come to the vault and they're in this position of benefit and enjoyment. What are you benefiting from? What are you enjoying? What are you a beneficiary of? So it's one of those things that we just had to have this conversation out in the public. Put the thought out there to have a very dynamic conversation with these individuals promoting over the internet that you can do private processes in the public. Oh, you can do this and do that. Well, there has to be a high level of substantiation, which is a preponderance of people executing these type of systems. Just like they have a Social Security trust system, they also have a private one. May not be when we say they is it's just the private individuals, private families. They're in trust. Social Security is for the public. That's all. It's for the public. The private has the private families being trustees of family trust. We do trustee training. People want to go into public and deal with this public stuff. All you're doing, or all people are doing, is just going into public and engaging in public environments that you want to definitely be aware of the governing instruments, be aware of possibly trustees that you may not even be aware that sit on the board. You want to be fully aware of the quote unquote document. How many people are very familiar with the Social Security Administration Act or the documents that govern the trust that they say that they can either put assets in or take assets from and put assets in another one? How does that work? We would like to say, oh, it's about what you create. Not necessarily. It's about what you control. Well, oh, I got control of the Social Security number, Trust Christian Vault. Yeah. Are you a trustee though, or the beneficiary? Beneficiaries have no control, even in the public. Do you get to control what age you get to collect Social Security as a beneficiary? No. Do you get to control how much all the time? No. That's the beneficiary. They don't get to control that. Oh, I'm gonna go through this do this private process because it's death do its part, and I'm gonna try to use some esoteric process and try to esoteric it because we really not living and the documents is dead, and well, it's all about trust, it's all about wills, it's all about estates. Once again, we can hear this at a high level. It's not really high. The high level is you're around securities agents that they're lawyers, and okay, we're doing our best to operate in a quality fashion, which basically means we're operating in uniform law. Pretty much the contracts that are going to be written are pretty much going to be standard across the board, and that's how it works. It's really simple. It's not a hard process to learn. It's not a hard process to engage in. Once you are familiar with you want to issue a security, what do? You get around securities agents so you can find out how to stay in the proper regulatory position. We literally got a securities agent that we deal with that they have the ability to allow people to raise money. That's what people do with securities. Raise money or acquire debt in a fund and do it to where it's not legally a security. But that's per even the SEC saying, well, look, we don't want to have to call it necessarily a security, but they definitely will allow people to raise a certain amount of money, have debt, have contracts, and all these things in place to raise money to pay debts and things of that nature. They literally have that. They have the ability to do that for about. They have a number that they have, and you can raise a certain amount of money that way. So when you talk about Social Security Administration trust, think about how much of a beneficiary position a person sits in a Social Security trust. Why? Because they're waiting for money to come to them. They're waiting. They're not raising money for the Social Security Administration Trust. And if you are, most times there's traditionally a few ways to do that. And that entity is actually a tax based entity. It's an entity that, is for the public. Because think about it. We were sitting in the other day, we were hearing Warren Buffett speak. Warren Buffett said he actually collects Social Security. How is this man that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars? What, do you understand how much he would have paid into Social Security? They actually have limits on how much you can make in Social Security. It's a beneficiary position. They have limits. So Warren Buffett clearly is very sophisticated and smart. Why? Because he clearly has a company that can pay for his lifestyle over and over and over financially. And he's in a position where he has reported to where he needs to collect Social Security, not because he wants to, but because he needs to. The reason why you collect it and the reason why they send it to you is because you need it, not because you want it. There are people that make a certain amount of money, they cannot collect Social Security. You all can reach out to people and find out the answer to that question. But yes, there are limits that if you make a certain amount of money, you do not get to collect it. So if you're in a certain position and you don't get to collect it, Warren Buffett's not one of those people? Clearly he's not. Why? Because he knows how to position himself to where he'll go get those peanuts. He'll go get those $1,500 every 2 weeks, or $3,000 a month, or $4,000 a month, or $5,000 a month. Well, how much money could he really be collecting from Social Security Trust versus the company Berkshire Hathaway? This is an easy case study. See, we can go into these situations, these life examples. Social Security Trust and Trustee. This is one of those where Warren is doing it as a trustee, staying in control, not being liable. Clearly, if you're collecting Social Security, he might not be too liable for the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars that he manages. Clearly. Because if he was, he would have to report a lot of money. And you don't get to collect Social Security trust money if you make a certain amount of money. It's for people that got to a certain age and they are reporting on their income that they don't have, that they're making a certain amount of money, and so the trustees of the Social Security Trust, they issue uh uh what we want to say, is it amortized payment, something of the sort. It's a payment, and it could be based off of how much money, which it is based off how much money you're reporting. If they see that you're reporting a certain amount of money, they tell you, you don't need this anymore. This is for people that need it, not for people that want it. And we have trustees across the board that the reason why they collect Social Security is because they're in trust. And that's the same reason for Warren Buffett and all the greats. But they're not sitting here talking about trying to do anything with a birth certificate or a Social Security number. We got a mentor that actually said it to us one time almost. And he said it about school and the house, because they give, in the public, you can get debt, which allows them to regulate GDP, because Social Security numbers are creating hypothecated finance for what? Houses. So you can go into a debt to get a house. So when you go into business, they raise a different level of equity capital And in turn, by them raising a different level of debt capital, equity capital, they're able to not be liable. And then they report what they want to report. These guys are reporting. Clearly, they're reporting. And then not outside of them reporting, what they're saying is hey, what are they really saying here? What they're really saying is they're never really going to tell you their financial situation. And clearly, their financial situation is very much so like a Donald Trump or anybody else's. When Donald Trump, whether he mentions, hey, I had to get the lawyers to share a specific piece of information. Everybody likes to talk about this new information about being indicted and everything else and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, when you're dealing with individuals in these environments, people are playing the game not to lose, and they're playing the game to win. Social Security Trust and Trustee, this episode is talking about the people that are playing the game to win. Those individuals are able to still collect from the public and be private. That's what's going on. Oh man, if you want to collect from these entities, there will be a public aspect to it. Period. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. Thank you for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault, episode 490, Social Security Trust and Trustee. This was definitely one of those episodes we get people coming through for years now. We look forward to people Googling this one. One of our highly rated episodes is how to use an EIN on a job. Why would people want to use an EIN on a job? Why would they want to do that? Because they want to be free. They want to be in control of their finances. Okay, so are they going to be an independent contractor so they can be free and in control of their finances? Well, some people still walk into those situations using a social security trust system education, and in turn that's what they're using even as now a free and in control of the capital flow individual. Why? Because they didn't learn the system yet. So the private system, the entrepreneur system, the business system is definitely different than the public system, employee based system, social security trust system. It's different. It requires an education and it requires action. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listen, replay. This is Christian. I trust Christian in the vault, own nothing, control everything. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. We know it's a ton of people that always get these consultations or they ask about this, so we're doing the episode for you all. And maybe it'll cut out on the consultation. Maybe you'll still reach out and say, okay, well, now I just cleared the cobwebs and I'm ready to go through trusteeship. And that's what quite a few say. They find out, okay, they take a deep breath and they say, okay, we need to find out about trusteeship. Not focused on trying to get something for nothing to a degree. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace.